Making an Impact podcast. There you are. I'm your host as always. I'm Chad Porto with 2 G's, and joining me as always is the bug himself, Zachary Tyler, Fred Bug Duncan. I think that worked.
With 2 G's.
No, you get 1 G, bitch. I'm Chad with 2 G's. That's gonna be my name now. Just Chad with 2 G's. And then people are gonna be like, "Wait, so you spell it CHADGG? CGGAD?" I'm just no. No, my name is Chad, CHAD, WITH, TWOGG. Or G, comma, apostrophe. There it is. That's the right one. S. Just can be written out, Chad with 2 G's. That's the full name. I'm the next hip hop star of Cleveland, Ohio. Bank it. The only song I'm gonna rap is the DX entrance theme. Break it down. So, program announcement. We're doing something different. No download this week for the Making Impact podcast. We keep this nice and tight, right? I feel like we don't need this to have a download. So we're gonna see how that goes this week. I'm trying the download. I'm very much one of those persons. When I start something, I cannot move off of it because then I forget about it. So when I upload the podcast, that's 25 to 30 minutes. I'm checking back, working on the fucking image for the site and checking back. So like I don't get any other work done. So this could help eradicate some much needed time I can dedicate on actually profitable work. Secondly, we're having some discussions about how we're going to be doing the Wrestling Underground podcast in terms of naming. I have decided. It came to me literally an hour ago while I was doing the upload for the Underground podcast. So here's how we're going to be doing the Wrestling Underground podcast. I think it's a good idea. We're going to do a live stream on Twitch, which we will export to YouTube within a day. I should do it within an hour after, but I like to decompress, assuming. I do all the fucking uploading and downloading anyway on this fucking gauntlet of Godsmack degenerates. God damn, I couldn't think of something that started with a G. Shut up!
Godsmack?
Gobsmacked.
So,
the idea is, like, anything WWE... AEW, anything like that will be talked about on the stream. Would you like, because the idea is that the download will be called the Wrestling Underground podcast because it's only available if you download it. That's the underground concept. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really good idea. But do you want to take a guess on what the title of the stream is going to be? It's so dumb. But it works in such great contrast with the underground aesthetic of the download. Because it's a play on words.
I have no idea.
I have dubbed it the main stream. It's not a single word. It's the main stream of the Wrestling Underground podcast. Right. But it's a double entendre because it's the mainstream of pro wrestling. I'm fucking hilarious. It's so dumb, but it's so perfect. So that's how we're going to be formatting the show going forward. Anything WWE and AEW related that we need to talk about, we'll put it on the stream, the mainstream. And then we'll have the Wrestling Around podcast be the download link. We'll put the top 3 or 4 topics of discussion on the podcast underneath. Like if you go to the YouTube channel, this week's video is about Reby Hardy and AEW having some issues, and you'll see like the 3 topics that we talk about in the description. And then underneath that, you'll see and like to download the show. Here's what you'll see or listen to on the download, and it's Finn Balor winning the NXT title. Is something else. The Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. So like we'll have other things on there as well. So that's the thing that we're working on. Like this is a evolving thing, so just kind of bear with it. bear down for midterms. Zach, goddammit, watch Community. I cannot keep telling you to do this. How am I supposed to officiate your wedding if you will not watch Community? Oh, by the way, I'm officiating your wedding.
Well, fantastic. I won't have to pay that guy $300.
I have a killer officiant speech, by the way. By the by, when I mentioned the horror of Babylon, you cool with a musical break? I'm gonna have some accompaniment.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I love some accompaniment.
Sometimes I see some ridiculous shit that even I don't. Oh goddamn! There's like 20 strippers doing the high step out of the back rooms of the church, all while ghosts sing backing vocals in their demonic masks. Your family's gonna hate me. At least your family and my family will have something in common now.
There you go.
I'm bringing people together, bitches. It's what I do. Ooh, my head hurts. All right, so we got a show to talk about. Let's talk about last night's Impact, or 2 weeks ago, or whenever you're listening to this. I don't fucking know when you're listening to this. This is the Impact from last night. New world champion Eric Young kicks off Impact. He cuts a promo. Alisha comes out, and she's all like, listen, I'm the size of your kneecap, but I'm going to tell you why I'm going to beat your ass. And Eric Young's like, that's adorable. You're 4'10" and 100 pounds while you're carrying 2 5-pound weights. What you going to do, brother? And that, lends into Eric Young trying to pile drive Alisha. That doesn't go well for Alisha. Shocking. Tommy Dreamer's like, wait. Hang on, my knees. Ow. This fucking ramp. Ow. Hang on, Eric. Ow, steps. Ow. God damn it, I gotta get through these fucking ropes. I'm 50. God damn it. All right, now, Eric, I'm gonna kick your ass with this goddamn kendo stick. And we're about 4 minutes left from 10 o'clock now, because that's how long it takes Tommy Dreamer to run to the ring. Yeah. I'm not saying he's Undertaker levels of slow. But I'm saying when you start running with your arms up around your armpits while you run, you might have some balancing issues to discuss with a physician. I'm just saying. Dreamer comes in, runs off EY, and for the umpteenth time in the last 2 years, I think to myself, Dreamer would be a better world champion. I am not happy with this Eric Young run. At all. Dreamer says, end my career. Doing his best DDP impersonation. Come on, Eric Young. Make me famous. And they schedule a old school rules match for later tonight. Despite what Tommy Dreamer said, this is not a retirement match.
No.
It makes no sense. Anyway,
it's not very good.
I'm the sizzle, you're the steak. What do you think of the opening segment?
Alisha going out and trying to act tough to Eric Young was just so adorable.
It's like it's like when a puppy tries to howl at you or like woof at you. Arr! Oh, and the dog's like, no, I'm being super fucking serious, man. I'm gonna bite you. I can't even bite through a pillow. God, I'm so small. And and I guarantee you, Alisha spells small SMOL. That whole hipster jargon bullshit. Small. Ugh. I love Alisha,
that wouldn't surprise me.
I love Alisha though.
Tommy Dreamer came down, did his thing that he usually does when he's not being just the greatest thing ever on Rascalzs.
Missed him.
He's I'll have to think he was thinking to himself, damn, last week I was just hanging out at a house full of a bunch of crazy people. Now I have to go fight a crazy person and not break my knees while I'm doing it.
All I'm saying is Tommy Dreamer should look into maybe wrestling in a polyester suit now on. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The one thing that I took the most away from the segment, other than Alisha being just adorable, was the awkward moment of Massive Rain afterwards, being like going like, Eric Young had Alisha and gestured to his crotch. He's like, in a position for a pile driver. I was like,
Good job, Madison.
How many slips did you have to get through before you got to that one? Damn.
So after that, we go on to find out that Rosemary needs to resurrect her father, James Mitchell, or I don't know. Dude, James Mitchell has more kids than I can count at this point. Dude needs to go on more.
I think they said that Kevin Sullivan is her father, but I still prefer James Mitchell.
Well, whoever is her father, go on Maury, because that would be adorable. You got Father James Mitchell. You got the alleged father, Kevin Sullivan. You could have Joseph Park just sitting there going, hi. And then you have Rosemary sitting in between them, just cross-legged, just glaring at them both. And then Maury could go, in the case of Rosemary, the demonic hive mind demon, James Mitchell, you are not the father. And then he goes to fucking Kevin Sullivan and goes, in the case of Rosemary, the demonic hive mind demon, Kevin Sullivan, you are not the father. And then everyone starts freaking out. And she goes, but Rosemary, I know who the father is. And she just looks and says, who? And then like walks out like Dez, who's 6 years younger than she is.
Hey man, she's a fucking demon. Their rules don't matter.
Right? The demon's like 1,000 years old. Fucking Ace Austin, 22 years old. I need to find the youngest person on the roster, preferably a woman. Kiera Hogan's the father. So she's got to resurrect the James Mitchell to officiate her demon wedding.
So on board.
I like this is a funny tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but I really wish my wrestling would be a bit more super serial. I'm just saying. But I am not against James Mitchell back on my television screen. I am never against James Mitchell being on my television screen. So she leaves Bravo in charge of planning for the demonic wedding, which Taya quickly takes control.
Of course.
Boy, oh boy, I wonder how Taya's going to fuck this up. All I'm going to say is this. I find it very admirable that Rosemary's willing to have a satanic marriage just so she can get banged. That's commitment. Yeah. That's dedication.
She got principles, man.
I mean, I think it's more Johnny Bravo has principles, but I'm curious as to what a demonic divorce would look like. Is it like a Mocklin divorce? Do you just stab the other person in the chest and call it a day? Bortus, he tried to kill you. Sir, it's a Mocklin divorce custom. It's how we end our couplings. I don't know why my Mocklin sounded like a Vulcan, but anyway, there you go. What do you mean, Zach?
What you're saying, entirely possible.
Right.
It is entirely possible. Either that or, it ends in the way, I think certain spiders, the female just devours the male.
Ah, yes, the Black Widow of it all.
Yes.
So I blame the pandemic for some of this. At least I want to. Because I feel like when you have someone like Chris Bay, you have him win the title, and then you have him lose 3 weeks in a row, I feel like there's something off there.
Yeah.
I think he lost last week.
Actually, I don't think he was on last week at all.
It does not matter if he lost last week. The fact that I think he's lost this often shows you how bad the booking is. for Chris Bay.
Yeah.
Perception is reality. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And Susan, for the last fucking time, if you take my burger out of the goddamn refrigerator, I will push you in a meat grinder. I don't have a burger, I don't have a meat grinder, and I don't have a colleague named Susan, so I don't know what that is about, but hey, let's move on. TJP makes Chris Bay eat defeat. Well, I did it funny. He rolled up Bay to get the win. Is a good ending, you know. Like you don't have Bay take a massive loss.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are differing degrees of like how you can, like, if you get caught, I feel like that's different than if you just like get fucking Goldberg speared and jackhammered, right?
Yeah, very different.
So I'm fine with this. I'm not a big fan of either guy though, so I'm not drawn to this. Like, Bay has a unique style, but I don't find him all that charismatic. And in the regards of TJP, I feel like TJP, I shouldn't say charismatic for Bay. You have a puppy. He is LaBarking. He is LaBarking James. In the case of Chris Bay, I don't think he knows, or at least I don't know if there's a better way of bringing out his charisma than what he's doing currently. Because I feel like he's kind of boring to watch. But I feel even worse about TJP. Like, he's a good hand. Like, if you want to put him like a TV title, like lower mid-card worker type situation, cool. But I don't want to listen to TJP speak. That's the worst. That's like third ring of hell.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You should. You missed my great joke.
I had a pup to take care of, and I will choose dog over you every single day.
To be fair, I would too.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Bay versus TJP?
I agree in that it's weird what they had him take the belt off of Willie Mack, and now it seems like they did it just to like kind of be an interim champion kind of a deal, which I don't really understand. Like, I'm not a huge Chris Bay fan either, because again, like, he's got a look and he's got a style, but he doesn't have much of a character or much charisma.
At least it doesn't. It's not obvious with what he's doing, I think.
Yes, it's not. He doesn't have negative charisma.
No, he's not fucking Baron Corbin.
No. Oh,
he's not Bobby Lashley. Just sucks everything that's charismatic about a segment out. So we go to. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Go on.
I'm sorry, but I mean, but it does seem weird that they are just kind of. It definitely seems like they're just kind of shoving Bay to the side for whatever reason. If you're gonna do that, then why did you put the title on?
I feel like that's the best answer for the X Division as a whole right now. Like, I brought up before the idea of going to weighted classes again.
Yeah.
Have a heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight belt, but then keep the X Division belt as the open weight division. Keep the name. And then, like, that way you could still do, like, all the things you're doing with the X Division belt. But, like, under its current format in today's wrestling climate, there's no more outdated title than the X Division belt. Like, it doesn't have an identity anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the plan is here. What's the plan, Phil? God, I hope I marry a woman like Claire. Beautiful, psychotic, clingy, loves Halloween. Will probably throw a child out the window if they get too out of hand. Perfect woman. Listen, I'm not saying like 10 and under, but like once you hit 12 and you start back talking, I think it should be allowed to, one story drop, find out what it's like. Or you can clean your room. I'm just saying, there's alternatives to raising a child here. I'm just saying. So are you going to ever let me babysit? Chad, why is my child in a walking boot? He wouldn't finish his Brussels sprouts. Now he knows why he should finish his Brussels sprouts. Because otherwise he walks the plank. He made me jump off the roof! And I'll make it do it again. Don't tempt me. Best babysitter.
I don't know that Brussels sprouts will ever enter our house.
I have a feeling that if you can get your kid to eat the 3 best greens, spinach, broccoli, green beans, you're good. I don't think you need to go crazy.
The broccoli will definitely happen because the fiance just is like broccoli is one of her favorites. So it's gonna happen.
I love me some broccoli, green beans, and garlic. And I think spinach is just a healthy thing, and it's a lot better for you than lettuce. Not that lettuce is bad for you, but lettuce is just crispy water.
Basically, yeah.
Like it offers no nutritional value. It just crunches. If I want to crunch water, I'll go to Lake Erie. And no, I don't mean during the winter. We have a very polluted lake. So, speaking of polluted, Madison Rain's locker room talk. Now with more Johnny Swinger. I thought that was good. I'm sorry. She's got Kylie Ray and Susie, and this is not one of the better locker room talks. It's not even that memorable. I don't even remember what was said. They talk about the black tie affair and Kylie challenging Taya, and I guess they got up for like a tag team match or something. I don't know. It was dumb.
Nothing really of note happened there. It was.
This was not one of the better
they
ones.
They were trying the charismas of the ladies plus Johnny Swinger involved did not mesh very well.
No. Not at all. Let's see. We then get, excuse me. We get Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele telling Johnny Bravo to be a man. Be a man. You must be fierce as a flow. Goddamn, I forget the lyrics. With all the force of a great typhoon, be a man. Something, 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 something. With all the mysterious power of the dark side of the moon. Mr. Piccolo! Stop mocking me!
Oh man, are they still going?
No, they stopped because the rightfully so the Boo storyline is fucking terrible, and they're like, it would take us another 4 years to finish this, and we don't really have the desire to do it. But I think they're still going to do like a movie or two. But as far as the episodic part, no, they finished with the Cell games, which, to be fair, is how Dragon Ball Z should have finished. So I'm fine with that.
Yes, absolutely. No reason it should have gone on further than that, or why it's still going.
No, it's just terrible. So, yeah, Johnny Bravo, be a man. Then we go to Brian Meyers. He's in the ring, and he's like, I'm the most professional wrestler. And I'm just sitting there going, this is the worst gimmick I've ever seen. And do you think this gives you power over me? So, how do I put this into words? Why is Brian Meyers in wrestling? Everything about him is just meh.
Yeah.
He looks like the dude at the bar. He's got the physique like the dude at the bar. His promos are as intelligible like the dude at the bar. And the dude at the bar tried to tell me for 48 minutes why bunnies are the key to stopping nuclear radiation poisoning. I don't even want to know how he got there. But his
I
rambling
do.
of 52 minutes of bunny blocking nuclear radiation saving techniques was more riveting than the 98-second Brian Meyers promo. And the dude with the bunny radiation idea doesn't exist. Made him up.
I would love to meet this person. Not to have a long-lasting relationship, but just to get his thoughts.
You would just want to know if this fictitious person I made up is really as bonkers as I implied him to be. I understand.
Yes.
I get that.
And, I have so many questions.
And he is. You're talking to him. Hi, how are you? Just throw a bunny at a nuclear bomb before it detonates. Saves the world. So, I feel like putting Willie Mack in this Brian Meyers feud is the... Here's the best wrestling comparison I can come up with for some of you older fans who have been in the game for a while. This would be akin to putting The Rock against Billy Gunn in 1999. Who is this for? Do you remember that feud, Zach?
I remember the promo.
Well, William, my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. My name's Billy. Like, why is he... Like, Heath Slater needs to realize, on your own, my dude, no one likes you.
No.
Like, your name...
Why didn't you go to AEW with your buddy Zack Ryder?
It's not even that. I don't even mean, like, specifically by yourself. All by myself. I mean, Brian Meyers, terrible name. Your New York Mets-inspired gear, terrible gimmick. Your the most professional wrestler, terrible idea. Like, there's nothing about him that pops. There's nothing about him that crackles, that sizzles, that makes you go, I need to see this cat. The only thing that would have worked is if he had, I don't know, reinvented himself and not doubled down on this terrible idea. He's must-miss TV every time he's on my screen. And as much charisma and talent as Willie Mack has, I am about to start skipping any segment he's in with Brian Meyers because of how goddamn boring Brian Meyers is. Like, this isn't a case of Chris Bay or TJP. Like, where Chris Bay may have something, but he's still, trying to find it, which happens. It takes time. And with TJP, who about as charisma as Black Hole, but he's one of the 5 best workers, so if he's in the main event, it's going to be entertaining. Brian Meyers has neither of that. I do not see him as a good talent. I do not see him as a good talker. He will not eat green eggs and ham on a boat. He will not eat them with a goat. I'm over Brian Meyers. Like, the only saving grace is if you pair him with Heath Slater and some type of hack-ass Odd Fellows, Odd Company, whatever the fuck that TV show is called. Like, that's it. Like that's the only thing we got. Anyway, so Willie Mack then challenges Brian Meyers. Brian Meyers wins with a DDT. He cheats to win, I think.
Yeah.
So, it's boring. There's nothing about this that I think it needs to be said any further. Gia Miller interviews Jordan Grace, who's wearing, I don't know, a funeral dress?
Something.
It's something, all right. She's furious at Tenille Dashwood. Tenille. That's that the data. Oh, good. We're back to that goddamn terrible joke, Chad. Thought we ruined that last year. So she's like, I want to talk to Tenille, whatever her fucking name is. And Gia, I did that on accident, so goddamn. And Gia goes, I thought she was being a real bitch to Jordan. I swear to God. She goes, well, I'll make sure to ask her that when I talk to her next time. And I'm like, oh, so when's Gia Miller versus Jordan Grace going to be a match? Because apparently if Pat McAfee can wrestle, anyone can fucking wrestle. But then Jordan goes all in step with it, goes, good idea, but better idea. How about we go talk to her now? Come on. And I'm like, what is this, an episode of Blue's Clues? Jordan's jousting? Grace's, what's a G for mystery? Gobbledygook?
I'll give it to you.
She is gobbledygooker? I don't know. Thank you. Thank Christ for Hector Guerrero. Right? Was that Hector Guerrero?
I think so. That sounds right. But now we gotta know.
Yeah, I'm Googling it too. Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, it was Hector. Okay. So they go off on a mission to find Tennille Dashwood. And like the only song in the only thing I'm thinking in my head is like a Dora the Explorer segment, because apparently like when there's like a bad guy, swiper no swipe, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh my god, this is a child's mystery show. I half expected them to walk up, find some random guy, yank off the mask, and then in unison it'd be Gia, Jordan, and a black and white version of a disformed Scooby-Doo going, Mr. Robertson. Because like this was getting hackneyed, and then all of a sudden it gets even more hackneyed, because they open the door and there's Caleb fucking Connolly.
That's what it was.
And he introduces himself as Caleb with a K.
With a K.
So I'm sitting there going Kalebk. What? That's a play off the goddamn chat with 2G show. Goddamn pick, stay on. Come on. Stay on my level. So apparently Caleb Connolly's now back as the personal photographer, making this at least the second time that Impact has taken a failed WWE gimmick and made it work. The first time that I can remember is Sami Callihan's hacker gimmick, which he tried to do in NXT. Tennille Dashwood, if you remember, Zach, was going to do the Emma gimmick, or the Emmalina gimmick, whatever that was, where she was a model doing photography things. And now Caleb's her personal photographer. And I'm like, hey, Brian Meyers, why couldn't you do this?
How did you miss up on this opportunity?
Like Caleb Connolly, who has as much charisma as a moss-covered, three-handled credenza. Really? Nothing? I go Chris Jericho list, and you don't do anything?
Was that move number 3?
That was like move number 5, I think. After 14 different renditions of the armbar. So Caleb Connolly's not very charismatic, at least not that we've ever seen. Heck of an in-ring guy, though. And he's now back in the company as a photographer. Tennille Dashwood, who's never really had much of a personality either, actually now has a personality. And I'm sitting here looking at Brian Meyers going, were these offers not given to you? Did you reject them? What is on the cutting room floor that you do not want to do? Brian Meyers is definitely the dude that was made fun of in college for wanting to be a pro wrestler. And he's like, no, I'm going to be super fucking over. I'm going to be the main eventer. You'll see. And now he's stuck in that 14-year hamster wheel of a guarantee that he, as himself, will be so popular that he'll be a main eventer. That's why he refuses to take a goddamn costume. Listen, motherfucker. If Glacier can put on the goddamn spandex and pretend to be Sub-Zero and get over like Rover, you can do something different. And if you don't think Glacier's over like Rover, next time you see him do an independent show, you're going to tune in, and I know it. Because I know I would tune in. Because he's goddamn Glacier. But Glacier versus Steve Blackman, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, in a Kumite match, 2020, make it happen.
Does Glacier still wrestle?
On occasion.
Huh.
He's done some indie stuff, and I think he was in a few AEW Battle Royals over the last year or two. Huh. Now, the real question is, does Steve Blackman wrestle? And the answer is, I don't care. I will make him. You want to know how I'm going to do it? This is how I'm going to do it. Hey, Steve Blackman. Bet you can't wrestle anymore. Booked. Booked. So, basically everyone's told by Caleb that Tennille will be back next week, and that's when you can confront her. We then get Kira. We then get Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz approaching Taya Valkyrie. I don't know why, but I feel like the Hogan and Steelz segments were almost as bad as this week's locker room talk.
I don't know that I would go that far. At least the segment with Taya I thought was all right. Mostly because I don't know that Kira and Tasha play well off of other people, but they play well off of each other, at least.
Yes, and that's part of the problem. At least as to my thinking. Much like with Madison Rain needing bombastic personalities to draw off, I feel like Tasha and Kira are so in lockstep with how each other does their shtick that when you bring in another bombastic personality, it does throw off the flow. You could put Kira and Tasha versus Jessica Havoc and Neva, or against Kylie Ray and Susie. But when you do it with Rosemary and Taya, you end up having a situation where a lot of people are talking over one another because everyone is used to being the top dog in a segment. And when you have that, you have a really disjointed segment. And there is some of that there. Plus, I'm pretty sure Taya calling Tasha Steele a chihuahua might be racist.
It might be.
I think there's grounds for that consideration. Although I did like how she just mouthed chihuahua and then looked at Kira and went chihuahua. So either Kira Hogan and Tasha Steele look up to Alisha Edwards literally, or Taya Valkyrie is 6'2".
Right? So fucking big.
I don't even know if that's true. Like Taya might be 5'7". Like that's the thing. Like I don't know. I'm like Lex Luger. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up eventually though. But while I do that, actually it's already up. She's listed at 5'8".
Okay.
Kira Hogan height. Google, don't fail me now. For some reason, whenever I'm streaming, it takes Google like an extra 2. She's listed at 4'11".
Huh. Yeah.
And Tasha Steele is shorter than Kira.
Ooh.
We could have a legitimate featherweight division in Impact. Alisha, Kira, Tasha. I'm sure we can find a few more women that are like under 5 foot. Interesting. Anyway.
Damn.
So we get a tag team title match. Solid stuff. The Guns versus the Rascalzs.
Mm-hmm.
This is a unilateral complaint. I do not like the bong rip or the crack of the can for the Rascalzs and Good Brothers tag team entrance themes. Never a fan. I find it to be audibly very not good. I've said this before. Auditorily speaking, I'm very sensitive. I like certain sounds, certain rhythms, certain vibrations, and frequencies. Some sounds just hit my ear wrong. I cringe at the sound of a televised commercial of pouring a drink into a cup, like a can of Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Like that chugging sound. I don't do well with that. Like it crinkles my skin, my friend. Can't do it. Like if you were to ever, I can't. Like, dude, I'm literally like tensing up and like kind of like repelling back against the idea of what I'm about to say because it hurts me so badly to even think about it. But the sound of nails on a chalkboard, I am not kosher with that.
I mean, that one I understand, but the thing that always gets me more is that, like, actually scratching your nails on the chalkboard feels awful.
Yeah, it does. But, like, I tense up even at the thought of saying it, though. Like, not even the action in which it elicits the sound. That's who I am. Like, I'm a weird dude. I got some idiosyncrasies that I need to figure out. Speaking of idiosyncrasies, or just idiots, the Rascalzs decided to try to go machine guns against machine guns, and that did not work out for them. They opened up the match going hard to the floor. They brawled around. They got back in the ring. They did a great job double teaming. I think at one point they even said that Wentz hadn't been tagged in, or Dez hasn't been tagged in all match at some point, like 6 or 7 minutes in. So like that was awesome. I love that. This is great tag team wrestling. The concern I have is that Eddie, he lost the belt, and then Chris Bay, he lost the belt, and Jordan, she lost the belt. And granted, the North had the belt for over a year, and I'm watching this match thinking, oh my God, this is where the Machine Guns lose the belt. So if that's like company-wide booking, and like they're planning on like doing something in this match, not just for this match, but to pay off in a different match with a different feud to make you think, like, oh, like this could be it. Well, that's brilliant. That's out, because I was legitimately thinking, oh my God, the Rascalzs are going to win, and I against anyone else, fine, but like I love the Guns. Don't do this to me. Luckily though, the Guns get the win. Saban avoids the hot fire flame. The Guns put once away with the double team flurry. That's just what they say on the website. All right, whatever.
That's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it says. Then post-match, the North comes down, and they attack the Machine Guns. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton come down. They attack the Machine Guns. Then Ace Austin goes, hey, you guys take him, we'll take him. Deal? All right. And then they split up the Machine Guns like it was some type of, I don't know, free pizza at a smorgasbord. Did not go well. And the Rascalzs were like, no, we're good. We're not gonna help. And then all of a sudden, the Doc Gallows and the Carl Anderson, they run down. The man of a hot Asian wife persuasion gets in the ring. They clear the ring, and they're like, hey, what's up? And then they're like, hey, what's up? And the Rascalzs are like, hey, what's up? Because they're still kind of concussed from the match. So yeah, like, that's the thing. I was like, all right, kind of a wonky beatdown ending, and Anderson and Gallows kind of did the whole don't slip as they're running down the rampway. But it was fine. I like the match. The match was really good.
I feel like I'm going to picture everyone saying that as they run down the ramp from now on.
Don't slip.
Don't slip.
Good news for you. RVD and Katie Forbes are doing a talk show next week with the whole effing talk show.
It hurts so much.
I know. And it would be just as bad if it wouldn't be as bad if Katie Forbes wasn't going to be on it and doing the like, that's the sign of someone who is trying too hard to be seen as charismatic. And can I just say, I'm not a big braids guy on anyone.
No, I'm not either.
It doesn't vibe with me. You want it, you do you. Never going to tell you not to. Never going to give you up. Never going to let you down. Never going to run around and desert you. Do you know that Rick Astley has a YouTube page?
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why it was suggested to me today, but it was, and he did a cover of Everlong by Foo Fighters, and I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult, but it sounded just like Dave Grohl's version of Everlong. I was like, either you just playing a song, or you are a far better talent than the world has ever given you credit for. Like, sometimes, like, when you listen to a cover, you want to hear, like, the little changes. You want to hear maybe a different take on it. But, like, he nailed it dead on, spot for spot. I was like, this is real impressive. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna run around and hurt you. I wish Impact would stop hurting me. Get rid of Katie Forbes. It's time to go.
Time to go.
Time to go. Meanwhile, at the Callahan lair, I was trying to do the Justice League kind of like star thing. Shut up. Remember when we tried to make an abridged version of that show? We should bring that back. That was a good idea. My editing skills were just... The script was great.
We did one episode.
We did one episode. We actually did a teaser. The script was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Solid script.
Solid stuff.
I just wasn't a good enough editor. Not that hole. No one else.
Not your home, you dumb bitch.
Your scarecrow was delicious.
My scarecrow was a 80s Skeletor.
Yes, it was, which is why it was delicious. Meanwhile, back at the Callahan lair, Sam Callahan promises that he won't hack the debut episode of the whole effing talk show because he has other plans. Who knows what that could be? Tasha Steelz versus Kiera Hogan match. Kaya wins pretty quickly. Moving on.
Yes, as well as she should have.
Yes.
If Taya had lost this match, I was gonna be like, "What the?"
It would be a thing. So Moose is on the search for EC3. Moose is led to his high school where he meets with his former football coach. Moose describes EC3 and asks him if he has seen anyone like that on campus. He says no, but before Moose can leave, the coach utters EC3's signature catchphrase, "Control your narrative. You've been warned." Ah! What? The coach has been infected too? This is like...
The coach
This is
has
like...
been brainwashed.
This is like the movie The Faculty, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. I know it's not a fucking Christmas movie, but it came out on fucking December 25th, 1998. I'm counting it. After it becomes...
I mean, that qualifies.
I think it does. Like, if you're going to just pretend that Die Hard's a Christmas movie, fuck that noise. No. Faculty. After it becomes apparent that the coach is under EC3's control, numerous EC3 followers appear, but Moose is able to take them out before retreating. I don't remember watching this goddamn segment at all.
It was a thing, and it was weird, because why? Like, I understand, like, the guy last week that was backstage that had the EC3 hoodie and kind of led Moose somewhere. It's like, you could do it. I mean, that's a follower or someone you just pick off. Who cares? But then he's, like, brainwashing Moose's coach now. His high school coach is fucking weird.
And, like, the way they did it, like, you could have done something different. Like, just be like, Moose, you got to stop looking for EC3. You don't want any, looks at the camera, trouble. Trouble. We get a Rhino and Heath Slater promo. Rhino's admonishing Heath to not do the stunts that he did last week. Heath says that the ads are working, but he needs more funding. Rhino knows a place where they can get some cold, hard cash. Uh-oh. Here comes the Hernandez, I bet. We then
man.
Oh, man. We then get an old school rules, non-title, hardcore... I don't fucking know what this match is called anymore. It's Dreamer versus Eric Young. Matches be damned. That's a hell... There's your fucking catch line. Matches be damned.
Bam.
It's a matches be damned match. It's like saying that you want a bedazzled jewel. Let's bedazzled the bedazzled jewel. Yes, please. This was okay. Tommy does not bump as well as he used to, but his enthusiasm and effort is appreciated.
He's got a hard work ethic.
He's got a great work ethic. He works hard for those Twinkies. So hard for those Twinkies. Tommy Dreamer likes his Twinkies. That's not an insult. EYs does kind of he blends in pretty well with a hardcore environment. In fact, like him and Crazy Steve, if you wanted, you could put Brian Meyers, Heath Slater, Rhino, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer in an actual hardcore division. Maybe add in like one or two more people like Triple XL. I think that would actually be pretty riveting because you don't really see a lot of hardcore matches anymore. Like outside of like the Extreme Rules, old school rules. And then whatever AEW comes up with their hackneyed ass fucking names. I don't know. But like you could have a decent hardcore division, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you make it 24/7. I just like I need to say this one more time. So the Money in the Bank briefcase allows you to cash in at any moment, at any time for a title shot. Yes?
Correct.
Why has no one ever cashed in on a sleeping opponent?
Great question.
Wrestlers are stupid. Eric Young wins with a pile driver.
Yes. After he hits Tommy Dreamer with his hockey mask, which they called it a hockey mask last week, and I was like, what? It's a hockey mask?
It's kind of like one of those old school 90s plastic hockey masks, I think.
Fucking weird.
Like the Jason Voorhees hockey mask.
I mean, kind of, but it goes around his entire fucking head.
Well, to be fair, have you ever seen an actual goalie mask?
I mean, yes, but it still don't look like a fucking goalie mask.
I mean, you got a point. Frankly, I don't like you, so I'm not going to concede.
Well, at least we're being honest.
So post-match, Dreamer's beaten down, or Eric Young's beaten down Dreamer, and then Rich Swann comes out. Oh my God, he's not retired? I'm shocked. What? No.
I mean,
surprised.
putting even that aside, because obviously every time they bring up, oh, Eric Young retired Rich Swann, he's never gonna wrestle again. Okay, shut the fuck up. Let's move along. But even besides that, I feel like this segment just like killed any momentum for the match about if it happens.
Which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, but it's like Eric Young is bringing down Tommy Dreamer, is gonna cripple his legs that are already almost there anyway. And one, nobody else is in the backstage that's gonna help Dreamer. Really? I mean, fucking Rhino's not gonna help him. I mean, obviously that's kind of putting Rhino in two different storylines, but still. And then, but then Rich Swann comes out, and it's not even like Rich Swann rips off the leg brace and he's miraculously healed or some shit. He hobbles down on one leg and manages to fend off Eric Young on one fucking leg.
With a crutch.
With a crutch. Rich Swann has already repelled Eric Young. He's already tackled that demon. And he did it without being medically cleared. He did it with his leg in a fucking boot. So Eric Young is no longer a threat. If a one-legged man can literally kick his ass, then what the fuck is the point anymore?
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, I liked the one thing I will say is I liked the reaction afterward of Eric Young and Madison Rain saying he looks like he just saw a ghost. It's like you could have done that, but had it be more subtle. Have Rich Swann just suddenly just start appearing backstage, and Eric Young starts losing his shit and thinking Rich Swann is like this thing that's following him and is coming after him or some shit. Now, obviously, that kind of puts Rich Swann in a more intimidating position than he's ever been. But it's better than what they gave us.
And what they gave us wasn't very good.
No.
So let's talk about the future.
The future.
The Johnny Quest future. Bam, bam. Bam, bam. Bam. Have you ever seen that? The Adventures of Johnny Quest? The New Adventures of Johnny Quest.
I've not seen any Johnny Quest.
There's a 90s remake of Johnny Quest that introduced 3D animation whenever they would go into the virtual reality. I think his name was Chase, right? Chase Bannon? I think. Apparently, you have about as much fucking relevance on this conversation as I would on astrophysics. But anyway, So like Bannon's daughter's in it, so now there's 5 of them. It's pretty cool. But the opening theme song you need to look up after the show because it's fucking amazing. So here's the deal. I think it's Fightful. Fightful is reporting that these 6 matches are tentatively scheduled for Bound for Glory. One of them no longer has the hype that it needed, but it would have been awesome. We have a Call Your Shot Rumble, which we got last year, which is what Eddie Edwards won. He never actually called his shot, did he? Well, no, I guess he did. He did, I guess, technically, right? Isn't that how he got into the Slammiversary?
Maybe. Who the fuck remembers anymore?
So long ago.
It wasn't even. It wasn't much of a call your shot either, because fucking 6 people originally slated for that match.
5.
5. Yeah.
And then it's still 5.
Yeah.
It's dumb. We got a 6-way X Division Championship match as well at the pay-per-view. Here's hoping it's an Ultimate X match. We have Swan versus Eric Young. I'm shocked. What? I thought Swan had to retire. Oh, my God. Can we stop doing wrestling angles that we know aren't true? Like, do we have to keep doing that? Like, we know Swan's not retiring.
Yes.
Like, it'd be one thing. It'd be one thing if you brought Sting back. He came back for one match and then grabbed his neck, and at the end of the broadcast, they said, Sting re-injured his neck, and he may have to retire permanently going forward. Okay, I buy that.
Yes.
But we know Swan's not actually hurt. So, like, why is this even a thing? I hate this. I hate this shit. Like, there are so many better ways of doing this angle.
Yeah, just have it be he re-injured his leg, or Swan's back on the shelf for 5 or 6 more months or some shit, and then he miraculously comes back in 2 or whatever bullshit you want.
Even better.
But stop.
Instead of having Eric Young or who was the last one standing for that Ace Austin, instead of having Ace Austin be the last one standing at Slammiversary, you have Eric Young go out first. Swan's the one who beats him. Swan then eliminates Ace Austin and I forget who the other guy was. Trey. And you have Swan beat all 4 of those dudes, or all 3 of those dudes, and then he's about to beat Eddie, or like he's on the verge of beating Eddie, or like he just pins Trey, and Eddie's in the ring waiting for him, and then Swan goes to the outside, and then out of nowhere Eric Young comes back and crutches him. And drops Swan, and Swan tries to wrestle the match on one leg. Eddie still wins. And then, the next night, Eddie goes, I don't like the way I won. I want to beat you fair and square. They wrestle again. Eddie wins clean this time. Post-match, Eddie shakes his hand, gives Swan the ring. Young hits him again with the crutch, and this time beats him down. And they're like, well, Swan's ankle's been just fucked up so bad now. We don't know when he'll be back. But he is coming back, and when he does, he's coming back with a vengeance. And then you bring him back. Like, it's fucking easy. Like, we know, like, it works. Like, the angle isn't that, he ended Swan's career, may have ended Swan's career. It's that he cost Swan the title. It's a very simple story.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he cost Swan the title. He may have re-injured his leg. Bam. Done.
Yeah.
Simple.
The injury's not even the issue. Like the injury is just a way to get the pop. Like everything else is the meat. That's just the seasoning. So here's the rest of the matches. Impact Knockouts Championship match, Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Ray. That makes sense. We saw this forming last night after the Rascalzs title match. The Motor City Machine Guns versus the North versus the Good Brothers versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. And then we have Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock. Now, I've seen this list go around a few times, and all of the lists I saw, did not list Eddie as champion versus Ken. So I don't know if that was part of the original rumor or if this is being augmented or what have you. But so that's what's on the table. My hope is that Eddie's getting himself into shape.
Mm-hmm.
That they're going to do a title change with Eric Young and Eddie next week. And then they're going to build up to Shamrock versus Eddie at Bound for Glory for the title. But even if it's not for the title, I would still very much dig Eddie Shamrock. The thing with Shamrock is he's a bit old.
Yep.
A little bit. And the thing is, like, everyone knows him as a big-time MMA guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zach, I know you know about as much about MMA as you do about Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question just off of what you see about Ken Shamrock. You know that in MMA fights, you can win by a decision, a submission, or a knockout.
Correct.
Looking at Ken Shamrock and judging him based off of his wrestling performances, and knowing that the ankle lock finisher is not real, how would you describe Ken Shamrock as his way of getting wins? Would it be by decisions? Would it be by submissions or by knockouts?
I would say knockout.
Ken Shamrock is the greatest submission wrestler in the history of MMA. Problem is, his knees and back are fucked, which is why when he went back to MMA in 2002, he wasn't very good because he physically could not fight in the same style that he used to. And that was part of the problem. So the idea of them going into this match together, like even at 57, like there's a possibility it's gonna be awesome. Even if it's not like 5-star Dave Meltzer, New Japan, AEW, oh my god, NXT, blah blah blah. It's still awesome. Just so you know, here's the official stat line: 47 fights in his MMA career, 28 wins, 17 losses, 11 losses by knockout, 4 losses by submission, 2 losses by decision. 2 wins by knockout, 2 wins by decision, 2... Oh, sorry, that's not a 2. That's a 23 wins by submission. He's got the good tap. And at one point, he was 22-4. He good. He real good. 22-5 was his best arc, probably. But then, like, after, like, 2002, everything just went down to shit. Injuries, man. Injuries.
Yeah.
All right, so thoughts on Eric Young, Swan for the title, or Eddie Shamrock for the title? Which one do you think makes more sense?
To me, I'd go Eddie Shamrock. It's only a month and a half away, so you'd have to get the belt back on Eddie and then bring Shamrock back and start the thing. But as we've seen, things don't take long to build. Things are typically better when they're built over a long time, but it's still not a requirement. And as we said last week, Swan versus Young, even if it's booked amazingly, which it's not, that match doesn't need the title. That's not the point of the match. And Eric Young shouldn't have the belt, and Rich Swann definitely shouldn't have the belt. So I like the way things are looking on this more than having Rich Swann versus Eric Young for the title.
Do you think that putting Shamrock in the main event scene, whether he wins the belt or not, is more positive than trying to bring Swan from the mid-card to the main event scene?
At this point, yes. Because, Shamrock is a legend. Mm-hmm. So, especially in Impact Wrestling, he was their first world champion. So, putting him back in the main event scene, whether the match is going to be good or not, it's still going to work. Swan is not a main eventer. Swan is solid in the X division. He was a good in the tag team with Willie Mack, but he is not a main eventer. He doesn't have a personality to him to be in the main event, which, granted, that doesn't always need to happen, but Swan can randomly just kind of do some crazy ramblings, but he's not, at least right now, he's not a main event guy. He's not drawing the money. So he should not be in the main event for Bound for Glory. especially if this is his second match in the span of a year or however long it's been.
I think when we think about the future of the Impact title scene, one of the things that I do want to kind of acknowledge is I think Shamrock today is the best opponent possible in terms of fresh matchups, name value, and getting eyes on the product. That does not mean that it's the best situation if you could make the situation, right? Like you
Right.
don't want to be in the situation where Shamrock makes the best sense.
Yes.
Part of the issue is that they ran the Sam McCallum, Eddie Edwards stuff into the ground. It was a good feud, great feud, loved it, but it was too often. Moose has had, for whatever reason, a hiccup in getting over the hump. Plus, Moose ain't exactly young. He's pushing 40. So then who else? You got EC3, who's also pushing 40, but he's actually been to the mountaintop before, but they're saving that for something, I'm sure. And then that's really it off the top of my head. It's like Eric Young getting the belt. It's like, all right, what the hell is this for? But when you look at the undercard, like there's really good talent. Swan, Ace Austin, the Rascalzs, but none of them are draws. And that's the problem. This is a company that does not have many names on its roster that you can considerably say are draws. At least upcoming and highly touted. Part of the issue with letting Michael Elgin go in terms of booking problems is that he was probably slated to be in this match.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the end game was. Like I think one of the reasons why they went with Tessa was because she was the hot hand. Wasn't just that they were trying to be like, look at us being all the included, my women. It wasn't about that entirely. I think it was because they realized that they didn't have another up and comer with any momentum behind them. Whether that's their own fault booking, their own fault hiring guys and putting them in spots where they can't succeed, or whether they're just in a weird place where it doesn't seem to be clicking with some things. They need to really sign some young talent that can make a difference in a year or two. At this rate, they've gotten some good tag teams. They got some good name value, but their youngest new addition for the men, I think, was Meyers. And like they're hiring some younger guys like the Rascalzs and Ace Austin, who are too young to be an immediate impact anytime soon. So like you're in this weird place where you got a lot of really old guys and a lot of really young guys, but no one in that prime spot that can be a main eventer or be built up to be a main eventer. So this is a very weird place for them as a company right now. I think the smartest thing to do, and let's be honest, as good as Impact has been since D'Amore and Callis have taken over, they haven't been perfect. Clearly, they put the ball on Eric Young for no reason. I still don't know why. But the smartest thing to do is have Eddie win the belt, change his look back to something more classic Eddie, build up to Shamrock versus Edwards at Bound for Glory, and maybe bring in, I know this is going to sound like a dumb idea on the surface, but maybe bring back in Dan Severn, who is a Ken Shamrock rival from his early UFC days. But he was also someone that was Eddie Edwards' trainer and mentor during Eddie's title run in Ring of Honor. So there's some history there, so you can really build that up. And despite what Ethan Page says, I think the other smart idea to do is go and get Davey Richards back. He's someone who is in phenomenal shape, a hell of a hand. Bryan Danielson called him the greatest worker he's ever worked with. And try to really bring something out of this company, because I feel like there's a lot of flashy guys, there's a lot of name value guys, but there's not a lot of substance guys. And I think that's the biggest issue. That's why whenever we talk about guys who could be main eventers, we default to Josh Alexander because he's one of the few dudes who looks like a legitimate ass kicker. Like, I just think Rich Swann's going to have a problem beating up a cheeseburger, let alone someone who looks like Ken Shamrock. Like, I don't want to say Rich Swann has noodle arms, but I've heard he's afraid of chicken broth. So, like, the joke is that his arms are noodles, people. But he's not the only one. Look at Ace Austin. Like, when he came, like, he's put on some muscle, but he's still real thin. Same with all three Rascalzs. Like, Wentz, I'm always afraid that Wentz is going to be accidentally picked up by like Sawyer Fulton and used as a toothpick. I think Trey's the only one of that young group of guys, like your Swans, your Ace Austins, your Rascalzs. I think Trey's the only one that has the body type and the look who could be a main eventer, but he doesn't have the personality. You know, he seems too aloof. It doesn't help.
Yeah. For whatever reason, my mind just went to the treehouse segment where Trey was pretending to be Sammy Callahan. I'm just going, thumbs up.
Oh yeah, and Winston Desert trying to hold his arms down. Thumbs up. He's just glaring at the middle of the room. No, Trey. Trey puts his arms down. No, Trey. Thumbs up.
So good.
Wildly charismatic. I feel like if you wanted to move Trey to the main event scene for real, I think you need to break up the Rascalzs and move Trey out of that and let him develop more of a serious persona because he's got great striking. Like he does like that spinning back kick that I really like. It's very, very awesome. But we need more. We need more from the Trey.
So. I feel like, and I agree with everything you said. I feel like today's wrestling day and age, there's a significant gap between the guys with name value and the mid card guy. There's, for whatever reason, the ability to move a mid card guy up to the main event fluidly and organically into where it feels right is lost. And I don't know. And it's not just Impact; it's WWE. WWE's had that problem for like a decade.
AEW has that problem too. Like they could not get over Hangman Page for the life of them.
Yeah. I mean, they had to resort to Jon Moxley, who, I mean,
that's not a step back by any means.
It's not. It's definitely not. I mean, but I don't know if he had the name value going in because he just got off the WWE. And I loved Jon Moxley when he first came in the WWE. I loved him in the Shield. But WWE ruined him as they ruin everything else. And him going to AEW obviously was a fresh change of pace for him, but does he have the name value to carry that company? Yeah, they're like, and all the I'm gonna pull a cornet here and say that a lot of the mid card guys, and especially all the young, high flying guys, you know, and I think we even talked about this last week. They pulled, like they played all the video games and pulled all the crazy moves and just put that into their arsenal, and that's it. And those moves are fun and exciting, but they don't get you over because everyone does them. There's no originality for anybody. There's no personality for anybody. And people like Trey, as we were saying, Trey could have a great personality. He's charismatic as hell. But there's just some sort of mental block between getting from the high-flying X Division mid-card spot into the main event. And it's the art of crossing that barrier is for some reason.
Part of the issue is that wrestlers borrow too much from one another. They don't pay respect to one another, and they don't worry about trying to find their own uniqueness. Another thing is wrestlers seem to think that getting 500 people into the auditorium with your splishy splashies is what draws. And I'm telling you, I've been watching this business since 1990. The only thing that has ever worked for drawing people It has worked universally, unilaterally, and ubiquitously. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word because that's going to just ruin my flow. The only thing that ever works is promos. And I don't mean in wrestling. I mean period. Boxing, MMA, grappling, the Grammys. If you can cut a promo, bring someone in, you'll win the day.
Yeah. Does anyone really think that Muhammad Ali, as great of a boxer as he was, would he have gotten nearly as much attention if he did not talk the way he did?
No, and he knew that. That's why he sat down and learned from Curious George. God damn it. Yes, Muhammad Ali learned how to speak from an anthropomorphic monkey. No, Gorgeous George, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yes.
He learned the cadence and how to spit rhymes from Gorgeous George. I think it was Gorgeous George. Wasn't it Gorgeous George?
I believe it was Gorgeous George.
So that needs to be a realization. And if you want like factual evidence, go look at MMA. I can give you a slew of guys that you've never heard of that could probably beat the shit out of some of the biggest names in the sport. But why do people show up to watch 52-year-old Ken Shamrock? Why do people show up to see Conor McGregor? Why do people show up to see Daniel Cormier? Or you know, why does Stipe Miocic not get people to show up? It's because the people who get audiences are great orators. Orators or oratators? I think it's orators. Orators. They're great orators, great speakers in time. And Stipe Miocic is like, I'm a fireman. You want to see my Dalmatian? Like, no one cares. Like, cool, you're a hero. You're boring as shit. You got the personality of an inside-out gerbil. Most people just recoil from that. So when we talk about wrestling, yeah, the biggest issue is that none of these fuckers can cut a goddamn promo. And like the promos they can cut are so overly directed and produced that it just feels like a segment on a sitcom. I'm sorry, I don't want to see Ross versus Chandler in a fight in goddamn combat sports. Like, there's a reason why, and I don't want to get political, but I'm going to get a little political. There's a reason why John McCain and Mitt Romney, as good of plans as they may have had for the country, lost to Barack Obama because Barack Obama was a better speaker.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. The more likable orator is the one who gains the viewers. They gain the followers. They gain the votes. They gain the seats, the tickets, the titles. So you want to know how to fix Impact? Find some guys who can cut some goddamn promos and look good while doing it. Don't rely on these overproduced, overprocessed bullshit cinematic wrestling, because that doesn't work. Don't do more overprocessed sit-down segments where you're shooting things in 2 hours. Do more 30 to 90-second promos, because that's how you get people over.
Yeah.
Sell me them tickets with your words. Jim Cornette might be a psychotic racist, but when he talks about the ability to put butts in seats by being able to speak, he ain't wrong.
No, he's not. There could be very many things wrong with Jim Cornette. But, I mean, the man has been in this business for as long as he has for a reason.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting because like one of the trending stories on 411 Mania is Ken Anderson reveals Vince McMahon told him that funny doesn't draw money. Well, Vince is right. Because a lot of his product is funny and it ain't drawing money. So, yeah.
That's pretty funny.
The irony of that, right? So,
that's great irony.
So we're done for the night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. We'll be back next Wednesday for another edition of Making an Impact right here on youtube.com/Wrestling Underground. Like, subscribe, comment down below, do all that nonsense. If you want to listen live, you can do so over at twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground, or is it the Wrestling Underground? One of them is one thing, the other one is the other thing. So it's either /Wrestling Underground or /the Wrestling Underground. Don't ask me why. I'm sure there was a reason when I did that. So, with all that being said, Thackeray, I think it's time to say goodnight. You can be found over on the DeviantArt and on the Instagram at Radiance2020, RADIANCE2020. Waiting on that comic, homie.
Yeah.
In a percentage of almost done, what would it be? 90? 80% away from 100?
50.
So it's at 50. I'm actually surprised it's at 50. I thought it'd be at like 0.
No, it's been worked on.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Because technically we still got like another week and a half of summer, so. Remember when I told you in May I wanted to do 3 comics for summer?
I did.
Well, that didn't work out.
I remember when I told myself I wanted to have my own comic started or posted by fucking the end of January, and it's fucking September.
And you're 2 panels in.
Damn well feels like it.
So, you can also find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and over at Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. I'm also, you can find us on the website. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. RealNerdCorp.com. 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 We also have a new podcast up from this past week. We reviewed, what did we review? Fist of the North Star, the NES title. That's up on the website if you want to hear us review that. That's up there. We're also on, what did we do last night? We talked about Rebby and AEW. We talked about On the Underground. We talked about other stuff. It's on the website. Go check it out. We're done. We've been on for far too long. Zachary, say goodnight to the wonderful people at home.
Good night, Rich Swan.